what training do individuals receive prior to becoming a police officer here in Evanston? And what basic qualifications and requirements are needed to become a police officer, including if there's educational requirements? I know people are interested in that as well.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay with the mask?
I can. I'm going to let Patrick chime in because he monitors more things along with Anderson if they say that the viewers are having trouble hearing you. Sorry.
Okay. If you can't hear me, just let me know. I'll address that question. As far as new police officers, a new patrol officer, we do have educational requirements to be hired. And that is a high school diploma or a GED equivalent plus 60 hours of college credit. When an officer is hired by the Evanston Police Department, they are sent to the police academy. We in Evanston, we use a few different academies. We send our members to the Chicago Police Academy. We send them to the Cook County Sheriff's Police Academy, and then we also use the South Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, which is at the College of DuPage. The state of Illinois has laid out standards of what the academies need to cover as far as training, as well as the amount of time. So the state standard is now 560 hours of training. Now that training includes defensive and control tactics. It includes firearms training. It includes classroom training over law. It basically, in that 560 hours, it covers all the things that we want to make sure officers are getting initially. And then that training, which we'll get into later, continues over the course of the career. But that initial training at the academy prepares officers to take a state certification exam, which they must pass to continue on to the police department. Once the academy section of training is complete for a new officer, the training isn't over then. When they come to us, they enter into the field training program, which for us is a 20-week program where they're matched up with a field training officer who themselves receive training in becoming an instructor in field training. So the recruits at that point will ride with the field training officer in uniform, responding to calls for service, handling everything. And that is what you call kind of the on-the-job learning. And then, like I said, that continues for 20 weeks. There's weekly and daily evaluations of the recruit officers done not only by the field training officer, but the shift sergeant. And then we also have a field training coordinator that oversees the entire program and monitors the effectiveness of the program itself, as well as the progress that the recruits are making.
When somebody they've gotten out of the academy, and I just want to make sure I understand this too, it's when they get out of the academy that they take that exam, or is there exam before they're in the academy that they're taking, or both times?
The exam is at the end of the academy. So
at the end of the academy, you have to pass the exam. You then, join the police department here. You've got 20 weeks of a field training program where you are working directly with another officer. Are you on probation at that time? Can you talk to our viewers about that? And have we ever had a situation where somebody has either been in the academy and not a good fit and been tossed out, or, for the 20-week training program just didn't have what we expect officers to have here in Evanston?
Yes, sir. We've had both circumstances that you mentioned. Either for whatever reason, discipline, just not a good fit, like you said, in the academy, they can be asked to leave during the academy. And then again, if they're not meeting the standards that we're setting, once they come to us after the academy, yes, they can be asked to leave then as well. Now, as far as the probation, new officers are actually on probation for much longer than that. Their probation begins when they graduate the academy and actually start here. It's a 2-year probation, and within that 2 years, they don't have the, if you want to call it, the protection of the union. They're at-will employees, and if there are any issues that come up while they're on probation, it's a different process to terminate them or ask them to leave than it is with established officers. But it is a constant evaluation and review throughout probation, not just the field training program.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like to add, I neglected to mention that a couple years ago, here in Evanston, we incorporated a lot of Evanston-specific training and information in the field training program. We recognize the special community that we have here, the unique history, and we recognize the fact that the training that the officers receive in the police academy may not, while they're learning the laws, while they're learning best practices, it may not be specific to the city of Evanston, things that we want them to come away with. And that's why we have such a long, in-depth field training program to kind of give it our own blend of training mixed in with what is required by the state.